Our most recent trip took us to the Rüdesheimer Rottland and the Niederwald. Since there are only two bridges crossing the Rhine River in the area in Mainz and Koblenz, it's easiest to take the ferry. The ferry connects the cities of Bingen in Rheinland-Pfalz and Rüdesheim in Hessen. If you're not used to taking the ferry on a regular basis, it's quite an adventure. It also comes with the advantage of being able to see the Rüdesheimer Rottland, the entire hiking area, the Niederwald Memorial, and the city of Rüdesheim, all from the ferry. We'd recommend parking close to the Jagdschloss since this is right in the middle of the hiking area. We came here on an overcast and windy spring day in May 2021. One of the main attractions in the Niederwald, the magical cave, was still closed due to COVID. My brothers, their significant others, and I decided to go on the 17-kilometer Rheinsteg, Niederwald and Monastery tour. Count Oststein, who used to own the area, built a cliff house overseeing the Rhine River in 1792, and of this cliff house a platform remains. From this platform you have a most spectacular view overseeing the Rhine. Everybody agreed that this was the perfect spot for scenic photographs. From here you can see the city of Bingen on the other bank of the river. That's where we started our day on the ferry. Our next stop was the Rossel, an artificial medieval ruin created in the late 18th century. It was built with the intention of reminding travelers of their own mortality. On the island in the river you can see the famous Mäuseturm, a former toll tower and customs station. Another important site are the ruins of Ehrenfels Castle on the bank of the river. Many steep inclines on the trail are prepared with wooden steps. The closer the trails are to major sites, the better prepared they are. A lot of wine is being produced on either bank of the river. Another important landmark on our tour was the mount of the Nahe River. For those travelers coming here from Kaiserslautern, the Lauter River finds its way into the Rhine through the Nahe. We were able to observe a lot of nature that day, even this little fledgling who was making a first attempt at flight. One of the largest sites on our tour was the Niederwald-Denkmal commemorating the unification of the German Empire in 1871. In the midst of the fresco you can see the Emperor and his Chancellor Bismarck, who instigated the war against France to unite the German Empire. Since we came here during a corona lockdown, the cable cars from Rüdesheim all the way up to the memorial were not operating. And even though it generally was an overcast and at times rainy day, the sun blessed us with a little warmth. It was most astonishing to see all the beautiful flowers and all of nature doing quite well despite the fact that it was such a cold and rainy spring. Walking through wine country at times felt like Tuscany in Italy. Hiking through the adjacent woods, we eventually reached the open fields. Barley and rapeseed are the dominant crops around this time of the year. Only 7 kilometers in, it was already lunchtime and we were able to have our picnic just before the rain. After lunch, the trail was now leading us through some pastures for cattle and horses. In the afternoon it was raining more frequently, so we were trying to stay as dry as possible. Some little mushrooms were hiding in the grass alongside the trail. And these ponies were not the least bit bothered by the rain. Back in the woods, the rain stopped again. We finally reached the former monastery, Not Gottes. The monastery marked the halfway milestone on our hike. And in the afternoon, the sun was trying to redeem itself. Within the woods, the trail was pretty muddy though, and there were large puddles of water. We were also passing a Waldkindergarten, a kindergarten in the woods. And close to the kids' playground, this hare was hiding in the shade. On our way back to the Jagdschloss, the hunter's castle, we had to cross through the small town of Aulhausen. Beyond the town, we entered a forest that we renamed the Hobbit Forest. And the last leg of our tour led us along a country road that was not too busy. In the late afternoon, I took the ferry back from Rüdesheim to Bingen.